Now it's my pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker for today's webinar, Jason Raven, the Director of Sales and Food Service for Canada. Jason was born and raised in Montreal. He is a parent to teenage boys, a passionate amateur golfer, and a competitive barbecuer. With nearly 2 decades of experience in food service manufacturing and distribution, Jason has spent the last 7+ years at Polar Pack overseeing food service, food packaging, and grocery across Canada. Jason, thank you so much for being here with us today. And without further ado, please take it away.
All right, good stuff. Well, very nice to see everybody. Look forward to, thanks for joining. Look forward to seeing everybody on Sunday. So pretty exciting. I appreciate your attendance in advance of that. I know these are busy weeks. We have 30 minutes. I'm gonna try to portray some trends in the industry and some research findings that we have. So with no further ado, we'll get going on it. If you'd like to move on to the next page, please. So what we're going to do is we're going to review an innovation workshop that was prepared by Novalex and Polar Pack and present the research findings. If you go to the next one. All right, so what did we do? So we did a study with 12 different customers across North America. The Ballpex member that attended was Carousel. Thank you again for your time, Carousel team. We also did in Canada, Tim Hortons. We did FGF. And as you can see, we did a host through the US, including other distributors, grocers, and QSR chains that you may know. We took an hour with each one, and we asked a series of questions and had a back and forth conversation about what's going on in the market. And we got a summary of our findings that we will now go through.
Thanks.
Yeah, next page. Okay, so key customer needs. So this is very, very recent. This is from the spring of 2024. So within the last 6 months. And what we came out of it with was the main end users are looking for 3 headlines that I'll go through: responsiveness, competitive pricing, and efficiency. So number one that was a differentiator in the market was the way that the distributor could be responsive to their customers' needs. Customers these days are looking for rapid change. So they're looking to change quickly, whether that be a limited time offer on their menu or at a QSR, whether that be a grocery shelf space requiring a new item. They need rapid development, rapid production, and rapid execution. So that was a common theme. What that requires is a willingness and a capability to change quickly, ship quickly, and react quickly. So speed has become very important. Number two that came up with competitive pricing. Coming out of COVID and supply chain madness, the market has calmed down, capacity is opened, imports have regulated, and people are going back to look at prices. Raw materials are fairly steady as well. So cost pressure continues on the industry. For example, at Novalex, our dollar per pound of materials on our sales have lowered, and rightfully so. So everyone's looking for an improved price, and improved prices are available if you review that with your suppliers. And the customers are looking as such. And they're looking for creative ways to partner to continue to grow and change the existing business that they have. And lastly, everyone's looking for efficiency. So we could use buzzwords such as AI, automation, but people are looking at efficiency, whether it be because of rising labor costs, automation, different things. Packaging is of no exception. People are looking for automation-friendly packaging or packaging that could save even small amounts of time in execution with its employees and save labor time. Keeping that in mind, if you go on to the next page, we also have common themes that have existed for a long time, mainly sustainability. So sustainability continues to be important. Consumers are growing more and more aware of sustainability, and regulations are changing rapidly and on a highly localized basis. So just like we saw in British Columbia this year, in the city of Montreal, the customers are looking for information. That information comes from places like Polar Pack, for example, or other suppliers, or in the market. So we need to have all that information together at a highly localized level. There's many drivers for sustainability efforts. We have customers that are looking to be even more sustainable than local legislation, and that's hard to keep track of because it's not common with what's happening in the market. So it's important to understand your customers' efforts on sustainability and what they're looking to do. And then the challenges that exist, obviously cost is one. Change is difficult, but the product needs to hold up. So in Canada, without styrofoam, for example, whether it be some type of a plastic or some type of a paper or bagasse, we need to have food in those cases and product that could live up to the new packaging, and the packaging that helps the food do well and the customers continue to return. So all very important. All right, next page, please. Trends to watch. So the current trends, number one that we have here is labor shortage. So labor shortages continue. I think we can all appreciate that. Wages continue to rise. It's harder to find people. I don't know if everyone's noticed, but there might be a QSR in your neighborhood that's shut down due to labor issues. I was in Mont-Tremblant in Quebec this past weekend, and Starbucks is closed, and it always had a line out the door. Apparently it was because they couldn't find people. So that's trouble. On the flip side, there's economic pressures. So consumers are feeling the pinch. We see it at McDonald's, for example. Less people are going out to eat for expensive food. So there's economic pressures. Is very important in the industry. Customization. I've spoken to the Ballpex members about customization a lot. It's a way to keep your customers engaged with their market and also close to you as a distributor. So customization continues to grow. Premiumization. Customers are looking for high quality ingredients, premium service, premium packaging, premium technology, for example. And that leads right into delivery and drive-through. So third party continues to do well, and drive-through continues to grow. It's very important that customers understand ways to service their customers that are non-traditional and be able to get it to their hands. Better for us, clean label foods, wellness foods, things like that continue to be important. Speed and convenience. Consumers want to do things fast. They want to do things conveniently, especially when it comes to a mobile app. And they want to see a wide array of products. So whether that be ethnic flavors, exotic fruits and vegetables, global confectionery items, a variety continues to be important. All right, we move on. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about the initial three topics that we discussed. So responsiveness from suppliers. When you have a limited time offer, you often require a prototype. And at Polar Pack, we're very proud to be able to offer prototypes, for example, but also samples. I think it's very important to stay close to your suppliers to know that they could show a customer something different that they'd like to see quickly, and need to do so quickly as well. Even on a small customer, the ability to move quickly is extremely important. If you move on to the next one. Price sensitivity, like we discussed, consumers are sensitive. Inflation is now slowing that we see, and customers are less willing to accept price increases. So that's customers, that's consumers, and that's the whole industry. So it's very important that we adjust to the current buying behavior, and that we look for ways to reduce cost. People are looking to change their product, alter their product. In some cases on our side, we're doing down gauging on plastics. We're doing downsizing on a bowl. People are testing a 32 rather than 36, or a 28 rather than 32, for example, and different things like that. So very important to keep in mind to be able to have the variety and the choice and do so quickly for customers. Efficiency and automation. So we've talked a lot about grocery and we've talked about different types of automation at our production line processor customers. The example we know in Canada is FGF. They're automating their production, and we have a lot of smaller customers who are automating their production as well. Packaging, just as an example, if you could think of a stack of plastic clamshells in a production environment for cookies or for croissants, they need to be able to go down the line and open and close by robot on their own by suction. So it's very important to have the type of product that responds well to it. And then have those same items that go into an automated warehousing environment, where it might be the type of tape that fits onto their machine if they're going to have an automatic sealer, and then lead into automated fulfillment for things like pallet wrap and different things. So automation, as time passes, is going to start to become common, not just for the big rich companies, that's for certain. All right. Couple notes about sustainability. We have challenges in sustainability that we want to tackle. Number one is cost. Cost is packaging is a cost to be minimized. It's not necessarily a value add. However, with customization and leading the market, I think everyone on the call understands that we could sell something that's a little bit more expensive if it works well for the application. So it's important to align the sustainability with that customization and especially with the value. So that's number one. And then number two, it has to perform. It's not good enough to just use something that is nice looking sustainability wise. It really needs to perform. So we have the details here. Plastics in some cases hold up well. Styrofoam is not sustainable, and mixed packaging is not recyclable. So it's important to come up with the right one that meets sustainability for certain. Consumer education. We want to pass on a lot of information. We want to teach consumers and end users how to have the right type of waste management system. We want to educate consumers on what they need to do in order to keep the stream going. Then we have global sourcing. We have a trend to look for packaging internationally. It's very important. I think the Volpex team went to Europe this year. Europe tends to be ahead. We have our division in Europe. They're very often preaching to us what's happening next. So very important to keep eye on the trends. And then data and certification. It's one thing to purchase something that aligns with sustainability. It's another thing to actually walk the talk. So ensure that all the certification is available. We know that with Whole Foods, for example, when there was the PFAS issue, it wasn't good enough to have talk. They needed to have real certification. So make sure that that's available. All right, we have a few slides on future. So economic shifts that are driving consumer behavior. We mentioned before that Uber Eats and Skip the Dishes are still very important. However, delivery orders are declining. So it's very important to gain and maintain that market share. We know that drive-through is growing. If you've seen any restaurants in your neighborhood, maybe you've seen drive-through double lanes open. It's now growing to over 2/3 of all QSR purchases is drive-through in the United States and in Canada. So that's big. Ghost kitchens are going down. It's something we talked a lot about over the couple of years. It's actually reducing. More pressure to deliver value. So consumers are looking for wallet-friendly options, value-driven deals, small indulgences, smaller formats. A lot of, we're selling these days a lot of 8 ounce, a lot of 12 ounce, a lot of 16 ounce, small containers, small delis, small cupcake containers. That's a big trend rather than, 4 cupcakes. It's a 1 cupcake container. Just-in-time shops, we're going to see it continue to grow. It's very big in Asia. We have ready to buy Subway machines, for example, Subway sandwiches, so things like that. Private label continues to grow, whether that be at our end users or within ourselves. Private label is something that people are doing more and more. And lastly, decline of plant-based meats. So things like Impossible meats just aren't performing like they used to. Not really a trend anymore. All right. Need for speed. So this is from a consumer perspective. Over 60% of adults expect to use their phone to access restaurant features, from ordering food to ingredients and more. So very important. 23% of restaurants have online ordering. We want to help our customers get further. QSR and fast casual dining are increasingly relying on drive-through, like I mentioned. And 47% of people say the biggest reason they choose drive-through is speed. So speed, again, continues to be a trend. On to the next one. Okay, so convenience in grocery. I want to talk about this for a couple minutes. It's very important. So we saw that QSR, people are looking for value. We know that post-COVID, people are returning to the office. We've seen the takeout at grocery continue to expand. It's something that I talked about last year when I did my presentation at Ballpex on the Sunday, and I can't really talk about it enough. Post-COVID, grab and go at a grocery is an extremely important segment. It's small portions, it's at the front of the store, it's fresh product, it's high margin for the grocer. It adds a lot of value, and it's something that we should be making sure that our customers understand and that we're going to our customers with. The national chains, so Loblaw, Sobeys, Metro, that's one thing. But there's an opportunity for our restaurants, for our individual grocery location, our small chains to do better at this. And someone leaves the office or someone leaves their house and they run in and they grab one of our packages with product ready to go in the store. It's really a win-win for everybody. It's a growing market, and someone in some cases might rather spend $10 on a sandwich and a prepared fruit from a grocery store rather than $12, $14, or $16 getting a Big Mac trio or going to Five Guys or going somewhere else. So it's something we've talked about a lot, and I'll continue to talk about it. This is, I think, a growing opportunity for all Ballpex members, and we definitely want to talk to our customers about having this offering in their library. All right, next one. Just a few trending packaging features as we come to a close. We're working on different things on our side, certainly, and the whole industry is functional packaging. I think you see there a paper bag with drink holders. That's kind of exciting. We'll see if we can get it done. Tamper evident packaging continues to be very trendy. On the Novelec side, we have Deluxe, who has the bags that are tamper proof. Those are very important for a lot of the issues that we talked about earlier. Then we have safety and quality, obviously extremely important, and portioning. We could print cups, and your customers might be offering those cups, and you need to have different recipes on them. If you go into Tim Hortons, there's like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 different drink combinations available, and that portioning makes a very big difference. And we can offer packaging that offers the opportunity to work with portioning as well. So there's some trends. All right, we flew through that kind of within my time. We passed on a lot of good info. Is this presentation being shared, Ballpex team?
Yes, so I can upload it afterwards to the Ballpex portal.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right.
That was awesome, Jason. Thank you so much. We will now open the floor to any questions. You can ask them in the chat. Lori will be monitoring that, or you can unmute yourself and ask them live.
Start things off, I have a question. Ballpex members are often dealing with a smaller or regional operator. Would most of this apply?
A smaller customer. Yeah, and I guess I kind of just touched on it when I talked about Loblaw, Sobeys, we talk about things like McDonald's and Tim Hortons and others. But the fact is that the customers that we go into every day, they need to have these offerings if they're going to compete and compete long term. So whether that be a local coffee shop, whether that be a local grocer, whether that be a local restaurant, we need to talk to them about solutions that involve the packaging that we provide, but involve a product that might be different for them, that they could now grow their market and grow their margins on. So I think it's extremely important that the local operators hear about these things. And it might be something they might not do tomorrow, but it's something they should certainly think about in the coming months. I don't know about everyone's cities, but I'll tell you in Montreal, the traffic has been crazy this week. There were more cars on the road. I heard on the radio, more cars on the road than 2019. So it's definitely post-pandemic, and people are going to the office, people are going to school, and people are out all over the place. So we really need to take advantage of the consumer that's jumping around.
Terrific. I have a question from our chat. What is the percentage of products that are manufactured in Canada, US, and overseas? And they're looking for a breakdown for each.
Sorry, can you repeat it? I only caught the front end.
Yes. What is the percentage of products that are manufactured in Canada, the USA, and overseas? And they're looking for a breakdown for each.
It's a good question. As times passed, the percentage of products from overseas has increased. A lot of paper products come from overseas. It's, I'll tell you from a Polar Pack perspective, we're looking at approximately 75% manufactured in North America and 25% coming from overseas. Polar Pack happens to be, you know, a proud Canadian manufacturer. The industry is probably trending closer to 50-50. There's things that used to be manufactured in North America that just aren't, whether that be a portion cup of paper or plastic, paper cups, straws. None of this, or very few of this, is being made in North America, unfortunately. And on the note of the question, and we talk about it every year, we're going to talk more about environmental impact as the years go on, and we've purchased software and we can offer environmental impact analysis already, but it's still a young thing. And environmental impact of a piece of paper that's grown in Asia, transformed, come across the ocean on a boat, across Canada on rail, then to be redistributed, has a much higher environmental impact than, for example, a piece of plastic that's made in Montreal and then recycled. So the percentage definitely increases. Like I said, probably 50-50. And depending on the manufacturer, you could buy a high percentage that's made in Canada from someone like Polar Pack. I don't want to speak to every other manufacturer, but in general, I think we know where they come from and who imports at 100%. So we'll see what happens with legislation in the coming years, but we look forward to the post-consumer recycled materials, from our perspective, at least, laws coming into place and changing the dynamic in the market again. Hope that answers the question. I spoke a lot.
Thank you. I have an additional question. Can you provide more examples of automation and how we can approach our customers?
Sure. So when we think about in a manufacturing setting and the customers that we provide product to that are manufacturers, we're not necessarily thinking of very highly automated, high-tech environments. But the reality is that even startups or smaller companies are getting more high-tech and are getting more automated as time passes. Low quality and consistent packaging materials fails on automated production lines, whether, like I mentioned before, that's tape. We see tape fail on our production lines and we have to buy something better. Whether that be pallet wrap or, for example, a clamshell that needs to adhere to a suction. When you think about items like plastic, like bagasse, we think it's so easy to pack it into a box and remove it by hand. But if suction needs to go in by robot and pull them out one at a time, it needs to have the right pressure and it needs to have the right amount of stickiness and not. And those are things that are detail oriented. And if anyone ever comes to visit the manufacturing facilities of Polar Pack, you'll see that we have product that sometimes fails because the plastic, for example, doesn't have the right gumminess in order to make those things happen. So small customers, small production lines, small automated picking warehouses, all of our small customers should have something. It could even be our customers who are offering takeout in the back, or a gym that we sell into who does lidding of a meal to take home. So it's really all over the place these days.
I have another question that's come through our chat. How do you foresee the next year play out? I.e., if a world war breaks out, how do you see 50% of that being imported, managed to support customers? Let me repeat that. How do you foresee the next year play out? If a world war breaks out, how do you see the 50% that is being imported managed to support customers?
Well, I hope that doesn't happen, although you never know. You know, it's funny, we're going into the coming months and the coming year, and things are stable. Resin stable, gas just went down, transport looks stable. This year we had an up and down on import prices. Now it's stable again. But we all have seen over the last 5-10 years, anything can happen. I mean, if there's something really disruptive to the market, all kinds of things can happen. Certainly from an import perspective, you would think that different countries would have different focuses on what they're manufacturing and what they're using, you know, transport fleets for. So there could be disruption at any time. And we all saw the disruption in 2021, 2022. We're probably all sitting on inventory from the pandemic, but people forget quickly. So 2 years later, everything seems stable. So everyone's kind of going back to their old ways. I hope everything stays stable in the world and for our industry, and we could plan effectively. But domestic manufacturing made in Canada, I hope are all things that we all put value in today and for the years to come.
Thank you. And I do have a final question. From a packaging perspective, what are the key takeaways?
Well, what I ended with when I talked about showing all of our customers ways to provide the products that are very trendy right now that they could sell, that takeout product, that shoot by the store and pick something up product is very important. So whether that be cut fruit, a dessert, a sandwich, have that available. That's super important. And stay on top of your packaging. Keep up the communication so that you have your local legislation. Make sure the product works for you. Keep the quality of your product up. And just have the right product at the right time and communicate effectively. And I really hope that everybody does take the presentation and they take the slides that they think are important for them and their sales teams and goes to customers and shows them a couple things. It's always the same. Some of these ideas are a little bit far out there, but these are the big players. And I mean, Carousel's right in there. So you have these big organizations, it's going to fall on us, whether it be in 3 months, 6 months, a year or two. This is going to be our world tomorrow. So I hope we all take mind of it, share it with our teams, and share it with our customers.
So, well, if there is any more questions, you can always send them to the Bulpex office or to Jason, and we can get those answered for you. And just so everyone knows, we'll upload the webinar to the Bulpex portal and we'll do just the slide deck so that you can have that on hand as well. Special thank you to Jason. Thank you so much for sharing such valuable insights today. And thank you everyone for coming out and participating. We really appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Alesh. Bye, guys.